Hello, Legion. It's Hadrian. Thank you for being here. I wanted to record a quick channel update to let everyone know what's been going on with me and when videos are going to be returning in the coming week or so to the channel. So first of all, just to speak to that practical reality and technical reality, as of the moment that you are watching this, I may very well be driving home to see my dad and my mom and my aunt, who I haven't seen in 6 months. Some of you may recall, I've mentioned in the channel that my dad had a pretty significant procedure at the beginning of the year. And then I had some pretty major exams, so I was studying and couldn't really get away. And then coronavirus happened, and it's still happening. And so much else has happened. God. But I haven't seen my dad in 6 months, or my mom or my aunt. And I am very excited to finally be going home. And my plan was, some of you might have seen, I posted on the community tab and Twitter because I stopped videos a little over a week ago. And I just posted a brief explanation of that, like, hey, I'm fine, just have some stuff coming down to the wire and I need to focus, and then videos will be back. I took a few days to recharge after I wrapped up that stuff early in this week. And each day as I woke up, as the planned day of my leaving kind of approached, I kept saying, well, I'll get some videos recorded and that way I'll have content running on the channel while I'm away. That'll be great. And under the weight of just everything that's been happening, and I do mean everything. I mean, there's a personal context, right? Which I'm not going to talk about in this video, but if you really want to know about it, go back and watch the last channel update. It went up in March. But there's also a world context that we've all been living for the past couple of months. And all I want to do right now is go home and see my dad. So that's what I'm going to do. When I get back, there will be videos. And I wanted to post this update because I wanted this to be different from some of the longer absences last year where I just kind of disappeared and didn't say anything. And for the record, I think I've articulated this in video before, but if I haven't, I really do believe that that is an important ability for me to have. I know that sounds cold, and I know it's good to keep everyone updated. And in a perfect world, I would always keep everyone updated, but we don't live in a perfect world. And there is a certain connectedness, when you're a content creator, there's a feeling that you get. No one necessarily says it outright that you should feel this way, but it just sort of slowly creeps in, where you feel like you have to be constantly connected. And that feeling is heavy. And during times when other things are heavy, like what happened in March that I explained in March, these things can pile up. So I do think it's an important ability to have, to be able to just disconnect and not feel like I have to justify myself. And by the way, tons of you, when this has happened, have written me messages in comments, in personal messages, on Patreon, on Twitter, all the places you might be connected to me, to say, hey, I support your right to do that, and I think you're right to do it. And you come back when you're ready. And I just want you to know those things mean the world to me. But I do want this one to be different because this is not, we are living in exceptional times, and this is an exceptional pause. This is not purely a pause simply because I'm struggling with a lot of stuff. There's a lot going on all around us right now, and for reasons that are primarily personal, but not simply personal, I need to step away. So I am going to just leave the channel dark while I'm gone. I plan to be back by midweek, and I plan to resume recording immediately. So we will finish up our series with literally one episode in Old World. We'll finish off Carthage, and then we will be continuing Symphony of the Stars, as well as resuming Final Federation 2 once Symphony of the Stars reaches its 20th episode. So as far as what I'm thinking, just really quickly to give you some insight for the other time slots. For the historical time slot, I want to continue supporting Old World, but I am thinking about bringing another game back to that slot. I've been thinking it might be Civilization 6. Having played some of the game, I've kind of rekindled my love for it in some ways, but having sunk my teeth into it again, I've started to butt up against some of the things about the game that had, having played it for over 1,000 hours, like some of the things about the game that like made me lose a little bit of my love and my interest for it. So, and by the way, that's true of most things that we play, so I'm not knocking Civilization 6 at all. It's a great game, and I'll probably play it again really soon on the channel. But I am weighing whether or not maybe we need to go back to something else that I've played in the past. I mean, maybe I just need to play Old World for a while and get to know the game a little bit more, like I've been saying, and spend some more time with it. The Old World is a fantastic game, but it is definitely early access, and there are assets that are yet to be included in the game. And there's a level of incompletion in some parts of the game that is a little bit immersion breaking for me. And so there's a reason that I want to take breaks in covering Old World, but I definitely want to continue to support that game going forward. What I'm trying to articulate is the 10 a.m. traditionally historical strategy slot. I am really trying to figure out what exactly I want to put in that slot. And I will be continuing to think about it, but that's the one that's most nebulous. As far as the 1 p.m. slot, I want to bring back Surviving Mars as soon as I can. The thing is, Surviving Mars is typically a third series on the channel, so I want to make sure that I have the 10 a.m. and the 4 a.m. It's really not just Surviving Mars, it's the 1 p.m. slot that's a third slot. It's like a wild card extra series slot where Long Dark typically goes, which is ironic because the Long Dark series are always such a draw for people. But that's the way that the schedule works in my mind. And with Surviving Mars, I need to make sure that I have enough of my other two series recorded out first before I continue that one. But I would like to continue that. And then Long Dark, of course, once I've had an opportunity to just take a breather from the last Against All Odds series. I had 2 Against All Odds series back-to-back, 5 and 6. I started 6 very soon after I ended 5. So kind of like I did after 4, I'm going to take some time away for a while and just ensure that I'm not playing the game for the sake of playing the game. I want to really stay immersed in it and loving it and let the updates come in a little bit and keep it fresh. So that's the thought for the 1 p.m. slot. There is also a new Frostpunk expansion that came out not too long ago called The Last Autumn that I haven't played yet at all, so I might be visiting that. This is me literally thinking out loud. I didn't think about saying that before I started recording this video, but here we are. And then, of course, for the 4 p.m. slot, we've got some Stellaris series going at the moment. I can't imagine anything else taking up space in that slot at the moment. Stellaris is a game that I love to play. It continues to get better and better, and I just want to maintain the regularity of content in support of that title for the time being. So there might be something else that sneaks into the sci-fi slot, but for now, 4 p.m. seems like Stellaris' domain. So that's what's been going on with the channel, and that's what the plan is for when I get back. So before I wrap up this video, I do want to talk also about what I mentioned earlier with everything that's been going on in the world. There's a lot of passion and conviction and fury going around right now, especially on social media. And it calls into question how we are treating one another as people. What I want to talk about is something that might be kind of slipping under the radar in this massive kind of cultural upheaval that we're having, which is that it is so important right now to be reminded that you should also be kind to yourself. Let me use myself as an example. Here I am posting a video update to let you guys know that the channel is going to be dark for another 5 or 6 days. There's a part of me that's tempted to be like, man, last year you shut the channel down for months on end, and when you started it back up this year, aside from everything that happened with Dad, like you really wanted to, get things going regularly again. There's a part of me that's tempted to be hard on myself in that regard. It's there. But there's another part of me that goes, hey, Hadrian, You're living through a pandemic and a massive social upheaval that's challenging just about everybody's view of how evolved of a society we're actually living in. Maybe it's okay to need to take a breath or two. And I'm going to go with that as my self-talk rather than the former. And that's what I want to encourage all of you to do as well. In whatever ways that you need to be easier on yourselves, we are living in extraordinary times. I cannot imagine the burdens of responsibility that many of you listening to this right now, young and old, are living under. And I don't mean to patronize. I don't mean to be disrespectful in any way. I can't imagine the struggles of the vast and diverse array of people in the country and in the world right now. By the country, I mean the United States, which is where I live, who are reeling from everything that's happening economically, socially, spiritually. So I don't mean to talk down to anybody or pretend to understand your feelings, because in so many ways, I have it better than a lot of people. And that's one of the things, honestly, that's been eating at me a lot over the past week and a half. But what I want to say is, that's another good example. Try, guys, to take it easy on yourselves. If, as a wonderful friend of mine posted on Facebook recently, she began her post with something to the effect of, it's okay if the past few months, if you haven't handled the past few months particularly well. It's okay if this has been a struggle. And I just kind of want to echo that message to a large extent, but also just remind you, as I said at the beginning, it's so important to, as we focus on how kind we are to others and how we treat others and the small ways in which we might need to, small and large ways, but what I mean by small is nuanced and really thoughtful and like complicated ways, that we might need to change the way that we think about other people and the way that we think about the world. Don't forget to apply those thought processes to yourselves. Because a lot of people would argue that you've got to start, if we want to be kinder to one another, we've got to start by being kinder to ourselves. So, there's that. I want to thank you all in advance for your support and your understanding. I'm always overwhelmed by the patience of this community because I really do like keeping a regular schedule on YouTube. And a couple of years back, it was really consistent in a way that it hasn't been in recent months. I think, again, it's understandable in a lot of ways that it hasn't been, and I'm giving that rope to myself as best I can. But to the extent that I struggle to give myself that leeway, you guys being here and being as supportive as you always are really means a lot to me. And I wanted to just acknowledge the general virtue of the Legion that I've experienced in the time that I've been making videos for you. I'm going to take some necessary steps to make sure that I am able to move forward in this climate, and that involves having the channel be quiet for just a few more days. So thanks for listening. I'll see you guys soon. Stay safe if you're protesting or marching. If you're an officer involved in keeping the peace, everybody, be safe, be kind. And I'll see you guys soon.